So, you've probably heard the news. Luther is back. Not on the small screen this time, but in a full-blown feature film, Luther, the Fallen Son. The big question on everyone's mind is, does it live up to the hype of the original series? Is this the triumphant return of our favorite tormented detective, or just a cash grab? Well, I've watched it, and I have a lot of thoughts. So grab your popcorn, and let's dive into my honest, spoiler-free review. First things first, let's talk about the man himself, Idris Elba. It's impossible to imagine anyone else in that iconic tweed coat. From the moment he appears on screen, you're reminded why he is John Luther. He slips back into the role so effortlessly it feels like he never left. He's got that same intense, brooding energy, the physical presence that commands every scene he's in. Elba carries the weight of Luther's past, his guilt, and his relentless drive for justice in every glance and every line he delivers. He is, without a doubt, the anchor of this entire film, and his performance alone is worth the price of admission. He's just magnetic. Now for the plot. Don't worry, I won't spoil any major twists. The film picks up after the dramatic events of the series finale. We find John Luther disgraced and behind bars. But of course, a prison cell isn't going to stop him when a new, terrifying serial killer emerges in London. This new villain is a truly modern monster, using technology to terrorize his victims and the public. He's taunting Luther from the outside, pulling him back into a game he can't resist. Luther, being Luther, decides the only way to stop this madman is to break out of prison and hunt him down himself, becoming a fugitive in the process. This sets up a classic cat-and-mouse chase, but on a much grander scale than we've ever seen in the series. The stakes are higher, the scope is bigger, and the danger feels more immediate. We see Luther operating outside the law, completely untethered, which is both thrilling and terrifying. The story moves at a breakneck pace, throwing you from one tense sequence to the next. It's a race against time, with Luther trying to catch a ghost while also being hunted by his former colleagues, led by a new detective, Odette Rain, played by Cynthia Erivo. Speaking of the cast, let's talk about the new faces. Cynthia Erivo is a fantastic addition. Her character, DCI Odette Rain, is tasked with bringing Luther in, so she's constantly on his tail. She's tough, smart, and a worthy adversary, but she also has her own moral compass to follow. The dynamic between her and Luther is one of the highlights of the film. It's not just a simple cops and robbers chase. There's a layer of professional respect and conflicting duties that makes their interactions really compelling. And then there's the villain. Oh, the villain. Played by the brilliant Andy Serkis, David Roby is genuinely one of the most unsettling antagonists I've seen in a long time. This isn't your typical bad guy. He's a tech billionaire with a deeply twisted ideology, and Serkis plays him with a chilling, almost theatrical creepiness. He's a puppet master who preys on people's darkest secrets and shames them into submission. He represents a very contemporary kind of evil, one that thrives on the dark side of the internet. Serkis is absolutely terrifying and creates a villain who feels like a genuine threat to Luther's world. He's the kind of character that will stick with you long after the credits roll. One of the things the original Luther series was famous for was its dark, gritty, and atmospheric tone, and The Fallen Son absolutely nails this. Director Jamie Payne, who also directed episodes of the series, understands the visual language of this world perfectly. The cinematography is stunning. London is portrayed as this dark, rain-soaked, almost gothic landscape. It's moody, it's bleak, and it perfectly reflects the internal turmoil of its hero. The film uses shadows and stark lighting to create a constant sense of dread and suspense. It looks and feels like a true Luther story, just amplified for the big screen. The transition from a TV series to a movie can be tricky. Sometimes, what works in hour-long episodes doesn't translate well to a 2-hour film. But The Fallen Son manages this transition really well. It feels bigger, more cinematic. The action sequences are more elaborate, the locations are more expansive, and the overall production value is clearly a step up. There's a sequence set in Piccadilly Circus that is just pure chaos, and a third act that takes us to a remote, frozen landscape that is both beautiful and terrifying. It successfully expands the scale without losing the claustrophobic tension that made the show so great. However, no movie is perfect, and if I'm being honest, there are a few things that might not work for everyone. Because the film has to cater to both longtime fans and newcomers, there's a bit of exposition to get everyone up to speed. For diehard fans of the series, some of this might feel a little repetitive. Also, the plot, at times, requires you to suspend your disbelief quite a bit. Luther has always operated in a slightly heightened reality where he can survive insane situations, and this film definitely leans into that. If you're looking for a grounded, realistic police procedural, this isn't it. Luther has always been more of a dark, urban fairy tale, and the film embraces that fully. So who is this movie for? If you're a fan of the original series, this is a must-watch. It's a satisfying continuation of the story that honors the character and the world. It's everything you loved about the show, just bigger and bolder. If you've never seen Luther before, can you still enjoy it? Absolutely. The film does a good job of standing on its own. You might miss some of the nuances of Luther's backstory, but the main plot is self-contained and easy to follow. It works as a dark, intense, and thrilling standalone crime movie. In conclusion, Luther, the Fallen Son, is a triumphant return for one of modern television's most iconic detectives. It's a dark, brutal, and stylish thriller that is relentlessly entertaining. Idris Elba is phenomenal, Andy Serkis is terrifying, and the entire production successfully elevates the world of Luther to a cinematic scale. It's not a perfect film, and it demands you go along for its wild ride, but it's a ride I thoroughly enjoyed. It's a powerful reminder of why we fell in love with this character in the first place. His flaws, his intensity, and his unwavering, almost self-destructive pursuit of justice. So, have you seen Luther, the Fallen Son? What did you think? Did it live up to your expectations? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.